Have you ever looked back at your past relationship and thought, was I just being used? Maybe you gave her your time, your effort, your love, everything. But in the end, she walked away as if you never even mattered. And the worst part? You didn't see it coming. If you've ever felt like you were just a stepping stone in someone else's life, then keep watching. Because today, we're exposing 6 signs she was using you, but you were blind. And trust me, you'll want to watch till the very end. Because once you recognize these signs, you'll never be fooled again. Before we dive in, make sure you drop a comment below and share your breakup story. Like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never fall into these traps again. Now let's get into it. 1. She only needed you when she was lonely. I have a question for you. Did you ever feel like a seasoned boyfriend when you were with her? Someone she would seek refuge in after all other options were exhausted? Consider earlier times. After a rough day, it was usually you who picked up the pieces. There were times when she would unexpectedly text you after a quarrel with her pals. She used to phone you on Friday nights when she was home alone. However, she vanished as soon as circumstances improved. What about you? There was a period of waiting. You wished. Perhaps she was simply preoccupied, you reasoned. Not at all, my friend. You served only as a safety net for her emotions. Instead of loving you, she cherished the comfort you provided at times when she felt lonely. And let's face it, you can't fill a gap with love. She would have needed you always, not only in times of loneliness. If her love for you had been genuine, picture this. You receive a text message on a chilly Friday night. That's her. Hey, you're gone. Your pulse quickens. You respond without delay. You find yourself on a call with her in little time at all. And you listen as she describes her feelings of isolation. Reminding her that she is unique, you comfort her. The words, "I don't know what I'd do without you," escape her lips as she sighs. However, she will promptly cancel your plans to get out. With her once, her weekend schedule is full, or when another friend extends an invitation. Time goes by. No messages. No messages. That is until it happens again. What about you? You remain hoping things will be different this time, but secretly you're aware.
She never placed a premium on you.
A short-term solution to her feelings of isolation. Can you tell me how many times you waited around for someone who only wanted you when it was convenient for them? Always be truthful with yourself. If this rings true for you, hold on tight, because the next indication, it's ridiculously bad. 2. Her love was conditional, only when you gave her something. Unconditional love is real love. The key is to form bonds and stick by each other through good times and bad. However, you couldn't be considered in a committed relationship if her displays of affection were contingent upon you showering her with presents, paying attention to her, or doing her favors. A deal was being struck between you. Consider it. Your ability to brighten her day with pleasant surprises, a dinner date, a shopping excursion, or even something as simple as a coffee, was remarkable. She poured her love and care upon you. But when you told her no or couldn't satisfy her request, the atmosphere shifted. Out of nowhere, she became aloof, uncaring, and disinterested. That is not affection. That's deceitful. Put yourself in her shoes. You're organizing a memorable birthday bash. You go to great lengths to ensure that her special day is just perfect, including reserving the restaurant and purchasing her favorite flowers. Holding your hand, caressing your cheek, and gushing about her good fortune in having you, she is radiant. Let us skip ahead 1 week. Work has left you psychologically and physically fatigued. It seems like all you want to do tonight is stay home and relax. However, when you inform her of this, that has made her sad, far away, saying you don't give a damn. Do you see the trend? Love wasn't what she felt. The approach was designed to incentivize giving rather than receiving. And what's worse, it was you who took the hit. You convinced yourself that your efforts were insufficient. Perhaps she would love you as much as you loved her if you made more of an effort. Brother, I have something to tell you. True love doesn't function that way. No matter what you could provide her, if she was sincere, she would have loved you. Has somebody ever made you feel like they could buy your love? Moving on to the next sign, I assure you, this one has a harsh reality. So she never made real sacrifices for you. Consider your past relationships. Who was the one who put forth the most effort and sacrifice? That was the one that was always willing to compromise, take a back seat and modify to make things work. If you said me, then we should have a conversation. Love goes beyond mere expression. What matters are deeds. It's about being there even when it's troublesome. The key is to do things for your partner out of genuine affection, not obligation. Now consider the following. Tell me when she last made an extra effort to be there for you. Is there a time when she was supposed to be there for you but she changed her plans? When you were happy, did she ever prioritize you before herself? Or were you the one who gave while she received the brunt of it? Picture this. Today was the worst day of your life. She will be there for you when you've lost your job and are feeling adrift. You casually ask her to stop over for a little while in a message you send her. And either she says, "I'm busy," or even worse, does nothing. Yet when was the time that she really needed you? When she needed love, money, or encouragement? You were supposed to put it all down. Once upon a time, you were so ill that you could hardly muster the energy to leave your bed. You were crossing your fingers that she would give you a call to see how you were doing, bring you some hot food or both. While you lay there by yourself, questioning her interest in you, she was out having fun with her pals and sharing photos online. A selfless lady would give her everything for you. She shows her affection not just in large acts of kindness but also in the small ones, like making the effort to spend time with you despite any inconvenience, prioritizing your needs before her own at times, and being there for you when you really need her. But what if she kept silent about it all? No one could trust her for the long haul. If she was only there when things were going well and vanished when they got tough. Do you remember a time when she tried just as hard as you did? On the other hand, were you the only one bearing the burden of the relationship? 4. She kept you as a backup while talking to other men. By far, this one hurts the most. You fooled yourself into thinking she loved and could build a future with you, but she knew there were other guys. She could have dated if things had not worked out with you. The harsh reality is that you were never her top pick. You were simply the most practical choice available during that period. Who are you to say? I have a question for you, though. Has she tried to conceal her phone from you? Was she consistently guarded about who she texted? Has it ever occurred to you that she rarely acknowledges you online, yet she likes and comments on other people's posts? Picture this. You and she are out enjoying a pleasant evening. Her attention is elsewhere. No one important, is her response whenever you ask her who's been texting her, while she continues to smile and check her phone. Disregard it. Do you recall the instances where she claimed to be too tired to spend time with you, only to be seen the following day tagged in photographs, enjoying herself and joking with other men? I can assure you that that was no accident. If a lady loves you, she will commit to you and never leave you hanging. She doesn't need backup plans since you are her plan. However, she was never truly yours if she was always chatting with other men, kept you at a distance while flirting with other people, or made you feel like you had to fight for her attention. That you choose to disregard the warnings is the most difficult aspect. You persuaded yourself she was simply being friendly, that she cared for you and would never intentionally hurt you. However, you sensed it in your core. You sensed that something was off. You were simply unwilling to acknowledge it. Perhaps she never cheated formally, but on an emotional level, earlier she departed. It was for this reason that her eventual departure was so painful. Just because she left you doesn't mean she didn't replace you. But hear me out. No one should have to settle with you as a backup plan. You should not be the person she ends up with when her first option doesn't pan out. You are deserving of a partner who consistently selects you. A partner who doesn't have to consider other possibilities, since you are their exclusive choice. End the self-blame now. Quit pondering alternative courses of action. It was never you who was the issue. The issue was that she had never really committed from the start. The anguish subsides as soon as you come to that realization. With time, you'll come to realize that she was never truly a loss. Rather, she was paving the way for someone who deserves you more than she ever did. Christ 25, she emotionally blackmailed you to control you. Return to the time when you were a couple. Have you ever felt the need to apologize for something you had no hand in causing? On how many occasions did she subtly shift the blame from you to herself, making you feel like the bad guy? One deceitful and sometimes harmful tool is emotional blackmail. Control, not love, is at stake. It was never about your happiness if she used it against you. Her control over you was the central theme throughout. Perhaps it began modestly. She'd behave hurtful at the drop of a hat after you made an innocuous remark. Perhaps she might get angry, distant, or silently punish you. Attempting to deduce your mistake, you would rack your head. The next thing you knew, you were apologizing in an effort to mend fences with your partner. However, it wasn't the end, was it? The moments when she would weep were perfectly timed. Just when you thought she could get away with it, she'd threaten to leave. She would try to convince you that loving her required you to put her wants before your own, making you feel bad about putting yourself first. Picture this. A night on the town with your pals is something you've been eagerly anticipating. You treasure this one evening of relaxation since you don't get much of it. Her face changes, though, as soon as you spill the beans about your plans. She changes her voice. "Oh, I suppose I'll simply be by myself then," she remarks, her voice betraying her displeasure. "I don't mind. If something makes you joyful, then do it." Feelings of guilt engulf you out of nowhere. How egocentric of you. You change your mind about staying with her. And just like that, she triumphs. The reason being that she has discovered a way to dominate you, not love. And what's worse, she convinced you that if you loved her, you would prioritize her above all else. Love isn't this, a manipulative tactic. Furthermore, unconditional love is real. If you truly love someone, they won't expect you to put their happiness before your own. The question you must address is, how often did she encourage you to hide who you really are? How many times did she use you as a pawn to achieve her goals? You must know the answer in your heart if you're nodding at this very moment. This brings us to the last piece of evidence that she never loved you all along. 6. She moved on too fast, as if you never existed. At this very second, your own essence is shattered. The one thing you hoped would never come to pass. In 1 second, she's professing her love for you, that she finds it impossible to fathom a world apart from you. She believes you are the one for her future. The following one, she departed. Plus, what's worse, someone else has already taken her place. What about you? As you watch her share photos of herself with him on your phone, you can't help but stare, seeing her laugh and smile as if she has never felt sorry for you. It's the gravest form of treachery. The cherry on top of her lack of concern, she never cared. Because a person who loves you deeply doesn't magically disappear the moment they feel their affection. Unlike a worn-out pair of shoes, they can't take your place. They don't act as if the affection you shared was only a passing fad and move on. That being said, she did. Perhaps she had an accomplice in mind the whole time. She may have been emotionally distant for months prior to her departure. You could have been nothing more than a stopgap measure for her until a better alternative presented itself. And what's worse, you're left wondering if any of it was real. Did she ever love you at all? Did those late-night talks, those shared dreams, those whispered "I love yous" mean nothing? Guess what? No, that's incorrect. Not to her. Because if they had, she wouldn't have been able to go on so simply. Let me tell you something. Love leaves a mark. Real love doesn't just evaporate. It takes time to recover from true love. So it wasn't love if she ran into another man's arms without a word. And I know it hurts. I know it feels like your whole world has crashed. But here's the truth. You didn't lose her. She lost you. She lost a man who gave her his heart. She lost someone who would have moved mountains for her. And one day, it will dawn on her. Maybe not just now. Perhaps not the next day. Her time will come, though. What happens after that? The time will have passed. So tell me, have you all experienced this kind of agony? Have you ever felt like nothingness as someone you cared about moved on? If you can relate, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a remark below. Have your story told. Just know that you're not the only one. Drop a comment below and share your story. Final thoughts. The reality must be accepted if you recognized yourself in any of these signs. She was never yours. All she did was take advantage of you. You made it through, though, so that's wonderful news. This will never happen again because you are here, learning and growing. You must now concentrate your attention on yourself. Appreciate yourself more than she ever could. Also, you should never be content to be someone else's fall guy. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.